Final Fantasy VII Remake was a brilliant game by all accounts, and after 41 hours spent running around the streets of Midgar, learning dance routines and buying weapons from a budding weapons dealer dressed as a Moogle, I was thoroughly pleased with the experience. But one thing really bugged me about the game: the design of Shinra's armed forces. So that's the soldiers and especially the standard security troops. And it's got me torn because it could be either a smart design move or a massive design flaw. So before we jump in, let's just talk about the general feel of Midgar and its inhabitants. So Midgar was an impressive city. It felt lived in and felt alive and had some really stunning elements. But the thing that really worked for me with this game was the characters. Now the main cast were fantastic, but the random background chatter from general NPCs was pretty impressive. It's not often in Final Fantasy that you see children acting like children and workers acting like workers, and people having living, breathing conversations. The only other Final Fantasy to do it really well was Final Fantasy 15 in the city of Lestallum. In the morning the women would go to work at the power plant and the men would go about their domestic duties, and in the evening you'll see the women coming back from work and their comments would reflect that, and it was all really pretty cool. In Final Fantasy 7, in this remake, we saw children going to school, people cheering to you as you passed them after a pretty impressive Colosseum fight, or people stressing about their family members after certain devastating events in the game. But like I said, even with all that, something was bugging me, and it was the Shinra troops and the soldiers. Have a look at this, and this, and this. That's right, they all had exactly the same face, and 99% of the time the same voice and the same build. Now, considering we fought a lot of troops and soldiers and security officers in this game, and we will continue to do that in the following games, it's weird that considering the world is such a diverse world and the people are spread evenly, the multiple ethnicities are spread evenly around the world, apart from maybe Wutai where they all seem to be of one ethnicity, I expected better. I really did expect to see soldiers of different races and of course soldiers who were also women. I honestly thought, after encountering Roche for the first time, that we'd see more notable members of Soldier with their helmets off, some hopefully even women. From a developmental standpoint, this wouldn't even have been hard. All they'd have to do is change the skin colour on the models for more racial diversity, get NPC voice actors to record some soldier lines, and for female soldiers it would literally just be 2 more model variations, one for the third class soldiers and one for the standard security officer soldiers. Now, I'm no animating expert or 3D modeling expert, but I can't see there being such a massive difference in the rigging and animation since they will still generally be using the same actions and are still pretty much the same shape. Now, if the case is that they've literally overlooked this, then this is a massive opportunity lost and a massive design flaw. However, I think there may be something more afoot here. If you've watched Final Fantasy Peasants' various theories on Final Fantasy mythology and symbolism, you'd know that they plan things down to the tiniest detail. So I think that this soldier situation could be a purposeful choice on Square Enix's part. There were several times when Barrett referred to Shinra Electrical Company as a fascist organisation, and he wouldn't be wrong. We've seen how totalitarian they are. We see how they don't really care for the individual person, and they have a whole heap of secret stuff going on above and below the ground. It's similar stuff to what we've seen in various nations throughout the past 100 years in our world alone, but as another standard element of fascism that we have seen historically is that certain people are considered better than others. Better fighters, better thinkers, and more entitled to stuff. So you see where I'm going with this? That's right, I think Shinra has literally designed an organisation that thinks that its soldiers should literally look a certain way and be a certain gender. Of course, like most organisations of this manner, if there's something that they want and it doesn't quite fit the bill, they don't care, they'll just take it anyway. So that's why we still have people like Scarlet working for them and even achieving high positions. But the overall aim of the armed force is to be this uniform, homogeneous group of young men, kind of reminiscent of the Hitler Youth, German soldiers and SS soldiers in Nazi Germany. So that's my take on the 2 possibilities. Major design misstep or a smart and subtle way of making a point about the nature of the organisation. Either way, I personally don't think it was a good choice, because as smart as that symbolic route may be, unless they are going to weave it into the story a bit more later on and make it just a little bit more overt, for example Hojo explaining what he thinks a perfect soldier is like, then I don't really see the point. This just means that they missed out on a really great opportunity to have a much more impressive looking enemy and a much more immersive looking world. Rather than having these rather prolific figures who are just faceless copies of each other, it would have been much more effective to have them reflecting the people of the world that we were walking around and seeing, the ones that we were helping find our lost cats and other stuff with the side quests. It would have made the world feel a lot more alive. It would have made it felt like we really were doing harm to real people with real families who had their own hopes and dreams. We saw a little glimpse of this at a certain point, which I won't spoil, but it was quickly overlooked and literally only lasted about 2 minutes when you added the two scenes together. So what do you think it was? A design flaw or a symbolic design decision? Let me know in the comments below what you think. And also don't forget to subscribe for more videos of this sort. I'll be doing a few more videos on Final Fantasy and its design, especially, like I mentioned before, looking at the city, because that is such an important part of the entire story, and the way it's designed has a very strong, effective and emotional effect on the viewer. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, why not check out this video on what I think was the best redesign in the entire series of Final Fantasy VII so far. That's all for now. Until next time.